make pate choux. It's a very popular French dessert, and for us, we probably know it as cream puffs. In America, we know it as cream puffs or eclairs, all, but those are two popular names that should ring a bell with you. So it has a lot of eggs to hold up the structure because there's no leavening agent in this mixture. A lot of butter, a lot of butterish, yeah. And I'm using bread flour because that's a strong protein flour. Okay, so I'll meet you on the stove. Here we have the butter, salt, and water in a pot, and we're waiting for this to melt. Now my stove here is a little bit SLOW, so it will be a while probably before this butter melts. Mixture is getting violent, trying to act like a volcano here. So now it's off the burner. We're gonna dump all the flour at once. Okay. Then we're gonna stir until you see no visible signs of flour. And then we stir and stir and stir and stir until it forms a big lump and pulls away from the side. So I'm gonna keep stirring this. I think it's time. So now we have transferred the dough batter to the mixer, and what we're gonna do is kind of mix it to dissipate some of the heat. You see that steam coming off? Because we want to cool it down before we start adding the egg. So I think I am good to go to start adding the egg. So we're gonna do this one at a time, and we may or may not use all of it. So I turned my mixer up a little bit to get the eggs to mix in quicker and more thoroughly. And I didn't have to scrape down my bowl because I have this flat beater here that scrapes the bowl. It's like manna from heaven. Let's check this and see how this is. Okay, it's dropping off slowly. I think it's, let's check. This is a variable. You could use all of it, but not all. So while you were out, I lined 2 of my baking sheets with the Silpat or the silicone mat. You can also use parchment paper for this. We're going to start and load it like about halfway, and so that it doesn't run out, because it's a pretty thin mixture. You just turn the tip up. This is how I do. Some people do it different ways. Just turn the tip upside down and hold it in your hand so the mix goes into the bag and not into the tip yet. So here we have the icing. I mean, not the icing, the pate choux. So pick it up, put it in the bag. Oh, I forgot I'm supposed to turn the tip upside down and hold it in my hand. Okay, so now that that's full, we turn the bag up. We turn the bag up. Don't stand it up yet until you situate the tip, because you don't want it running right out at the other end. So you hold the tip up while you squeeze it down in the bag. Okay? Let's start with the star tip. So I'm gonna pipe 2 Eclairs. Hold the bag at a 45-degree angle and just squeeze gently and pull along. So I'm gonna pipe this one this way. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. You almost allow the tip to push you back, okay? Right, so the other one I'm gonna try is gonna be almost like a shell border on a cake. So it's gonna be a fat shell. So squeeze, 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 pull away. Oh, squeeze, 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 pull away. And then here is the neck. So it's supposed to be like a number 2. Or a question mark. All right, and then for the head of the swan, you're gonna put a little build up and pull away. A little build up and pull away. Okay, so for these tips that we have here that are not acting right, you just take some water, wet your fingertips, and just blend them in. These are gonna be quicker than these. Well, we're gonna see what happens. All right, so I'm gonna put them in the oven now. So here we have our swan necks. They're a little bit on the brown side. All right, we can have some brown swans. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just excited to put these together because when I looked at them when they were baking, I was like, those don't quite look like swan necks, but I'm convinced somebody. Anyway, so these baked after 20 minutes. There you have it. Fresh out the oven. So this was 30 minutes. So really you're supposed to put them back in the oven to dry out, but I have to bake the other 2 sets back. So here we have the other set. So now we're going to make creme chantilly, which is a fancy name for whipped cream. So I have chilled my bowl, my whisk, and the whipped cream, of course, was in the refrigerator. 1/4 cup of sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just gonna whisk this until it's happy. So I'm just gonna let it rip. So here we have it. Whipped cream, no, I'm sorry, creme chantilly. Well, go on, people. This is what we're going for. Pastry cream. And on top, I just tinted my whipped cream pink with some regular food coloring and put it in a piping bag and just piped some fluff there. So I wanted pink swans for Mother's Day. Okay, so first we take our swan body. So we're gonna take a serrated edge knife and we're going to carefully cut off the top of the cream puff. Careful not to cut yourself. Okay, so mine broke off, but that's good. So then we're gonna take this top half. We're gonna cut this top half in 2. So now we have 2 halves looking something like this. Turn it the other way. So in my bowl, I have everything already loaded in the icing batch, which I showed you earlier. So I have my pastry cream in, and in here, because I wanted to get the ruffled feathers, I have a big star tip. In here, which is our chocolate ganache, I have also another star tip, which doesn't have to be a tip either. That's just me. So first thing, you want to put the chocolate on the bottom of the cream puff. We have a cavity inside here, and I'm just going to fill it with chocolate. So basically, just pipe the chocolate in there from one end to the next. Okay? See, it's a dollop of chocolate. So I just take my whipped cream bag with a star tip and I just pipe around in a circle till I get that. Okay, so there you go. All right, so now we have our feathers here. Can you see that? Okay, pull this up. So we just gonna stick one in here somewhere. We may have to adjust it later. So that's one side, and then we take the other side. We stick in the wider end. Well, for this one, it's we stick it in. Try to keep it even, and then we take a neck there. So we just stick that in here, in between the two feathers, and here we have it. We have our swan. Okay, are you getting swan vibes? Here's another way to fill the cream puff. You can take a sharp knife and just make a slit in the bottom. Stick it in there. Just make a cross cut like so. And then I have a sharp tip, but you know, you could use another kind of tip. And we have our piping bag with the pastry cream. I'm just gonna fill this one with pastry cream. Easier to pipe. So we just pipe. You just pull out as you're squeezing, and the pressure of the pastry cream inside will push the tip out when it's full. So let's cut this in half. You see that? So here you have it, our swans on the lake. All I did was I melted some ganache, just softened it up a bit, spread it in the bottom of the plate, sit them in there, and I just piped some flowers with buttercream icing on the lake. I wanted to try out some strawberry looking ones. So here are some strawberry ones. And the chocolate on the top tells me that there's chocolate inside. Chocolate and pastry cream inside. And then I just put the strawberry. To me, this one looks like Ernie.